Hey Roy, thanks for jumping on with me. I feel like we're on we're on some sort of news.
It takes a crisis, an excuse for you and me to
I,
jump on, but it's like, hey, let's do it
I
quick.
know, I know, and the reason I reached out is because you were one of the first people, one of our LPs, to say like I want to provide help, and we nobody really knows what's going on, but we're here
We
to
did the
talk.
same thing for the handful of funds that we've invested in that we did for
Yeah,
founders, is just
yeah,
reaching out, sharing what we know, which is obviously, like everybody else,
yeah.
relatively little.
Yeah, and I right before our call, I did get a chance to speak with someone for about 10 minutes from SVB, an executive, and I will be writing a little bit of what they said. I shared it with our portfolio at Backstage, and was given access there. And essentially, they said what they should say, which is everybody calm down. But what I thought was interesting was that they said that this was extra money, and I know that you're limited in what you can talk about as a fintech expert here. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I just feel like because when things like this happen, kind of want to hear from people who have been working in this and just your take on it.
Yeah, first, I'll just say I'm not a fintech expert. I'm a founder, former founder who's now been a VC for 10 years and is supporting founders in this. The best thread I've seen is Samir Kaji, who used to
Yeah,
be, maybe you saw that and you'll link to it because he used to be
yeah,
at SVB, and just somebody who used to be there and therefore doesn't have inside information can often give the most expert analysis from the outside. But we're encouraging founders to, they have to assess what their level of risk is. I'll tell you what founders are saying. They're saying they're trying to move money at SVB's encouragement to an insured sweep account, which is federally, this is what I believe. This is not me saying this as an
we're not
authority.
giving any advice. We're just saying
Yeah,
what
no
we
advice,
heard. Yeah,
but insured by FDIC up to 125 million. And so that's SVB has recommended that founders do that. And then, of course, some founders are also moving their money to other banks, and lots of the other banks are jumping, at that opportunity
yes, they are.
and opening things up. And then SVB bankers, like getting your banker on the phone, if you know who that person is, which presumably is in your email, and hopefully if you can log into SVB, you can find it. That has been the best way to get a response from SVB. And I just want to say, this landed on the people at SVB just the same way it landed on all of us. And so they are, I said this earlier, I think they're just doing yeoman's work, person's work, on this. It's really remarkable.
Yeah, I agree. And it reminds me of how SVB and First Republic and other banks handled PPP back in 2020.
Right. The websites were going down and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
and it was, I mean, it was a run in a certain way, but I think
Sure.
that what
Run
I
up.
learned from the conversation too with this person, this executive at SVB, who of course is going to have their own bias, but I've known them for years and it felt very genuine. They said that, in about a week, they'll be able to talk more, the CEO, and they will be able to talk more because they're in the middle of this transaction, and that this is actually not as, it's what Samir is saying. It's not as scary, but what is scary is the run on the bank and the panic.
Sure.
So
I mean, that is the
there's a
concern.
small fire in the kitchen, but the panic from it is what's getting people
Yeah,
hurt.
and that's why, sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, no, no.
That's why, why the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, exists, is so that people can know that they feel safe in that moment. And I believe SVB accounts are insured by FDIC, the normal accounts up to 250K. Now, of course, some founders have a lot more money than that. If you're fortunate to have a lot more money than that in the bank, then you're thinking about how to protect it. And so founders are making their own judgments. We are not sending out something saying, everybody take out your money or anything like that. I think it's a murky situation where we're trying to support founders in making the best judgment calls they can. And I'm really feeling for some folks, are like traveling overseas and it's like 3
Mm,
a.m. and all that stuff. So
yeah.
there's a lot of anguish happening right now.
Have you seen some direct, immediate effects on accounts, like people not being able to take out $100, 1,000, make the
I haven't
transaction?
seen operational effects like that. No, I've not
Yeah.
heard anything like that. Mostly just login issues with the website because it seems like the systems are getting inundated. And SVB did confirm when that happened. I was like, hey, is SVB pausing wires going out? It's like, no, the systems are just down. And
Yeah, because
so,
there's so many
and
people.
let's remember, SVB does have a very long track record of good behavior as a
Yeah.
bank. And
Yes.
so I think that's just important to underline.
And SVB, and this is the interviewer in me and not the GP in me, but SVB is an LP and a lot of funds. Do you see that affecting anything, or?
I really don't know how to think about that. I mean,
Yeah.
my guess is that they're going to honor their agreements is my guess. And if they can answer called capital, they will, but I honestly have no
Yeah.
idea.
And I don't think they're cash poor. I think that I trust what this person said. This is my opinion. I trust what they said, that the transaction that's causing the angst is actually a decision that was made with additional money, that there's more than enough to cover the transactions themselves. I just think it's interesting that SVB is so entangled. I call it the SVB entanglement because I'm a little cheeky, but I just think it's interesting that they're so entangled in so much of what we do in Silicon
Sure, they
Valley.
loan money to founders to have mortgages on their house, and
Yeah.
and I should say, full disclosure, I think I have an active mortgage with SVB myself.
Yeah, it's tough because
I
of
can't.
like
Yeah,
different banks. Yeah. Yeah.
right. Exactly.
How are you
Exactly.
feeling
So,
about, like, how are you feeling? Did you get just an amazing number of founders and
I mean,
GPs?
it's been madness. It's like one of these days was like, please don't send me a thank you email for whatever I did, because like I just got to get through it to all the other stuff. Our founder Slack channel has been jumping. Our LP, Slack channel for GPs also. How am I feeling? I'm not really thinking about it that way, in the sense that I think my job as an investor to support founders is to just provide good information and be there for them as a calm sounding board, as opposed to have my own emotional reaction to it. Sometimes you do, but at the moment I'm not. So I'm just trying to see the information as best I can, provide it as best I can, communicate honestly and frequently. And, and will that be enough? Is it the right choice? I don't really know. A lot of the agonizing choices founders are making right now is like, oh, it's going to cost me $2,000 to move this money over, because like I got to do a currency conversion or something like that. And it's like, those are hard choices because the money's precious. And so, I'm giving advice the best I can in those situations, not financial advice, but just what I see. I personally don't think that, somebody asked me like, what do you think the odds are that SVB goes to zero? And they're like, I don't know.
No,
Done.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
But
but who
you were
knows?
saying, you were saying you think the odds are low. 72 hours from now, this is going to be old news, and it's going to be a new set of understanding of what's going on. And so
We'll learn about what happened and how did this unfold. And,
exactly.
the communication in this is so tough because the law limits what SVB can say and how they can say it. And obviously the CEO put out that letter, and I really respect them trying to do all that they can. So I think that's what I got.
Yeah. Last thing before we go, please kind of, for anyone who doesn't know, the name of your fund and exactly what you do.
Yeah, I'm Roy from Bloomberg Beta. We are a venture capital firm that invests as early as possible in the future work, founders in North America. And BloombergBeta.com has our full operating manual in public, but we try to deeply treat founders as our customers. And so that's just what we're trying to do today.
And full disclosure, you all are invested in our accelerator fund from 2019 and just have been very helpful outside of that.
Thank you,
Cool.
Arlan.
Thank you, Roy. I appreciate it.
Hang in there, and all the founders out there and all the fund managers worried about their money, like, hang in there, folks.
Yeah, we'll make it through. We'll get through this. We got through COVID. I mean, sort of.
I mean, yes.
We got through.
Let's hope the lasting effects on that are not like this.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Roy.